Foes bear arms to the doors of death, Reyna said. That's a prophecy of the seven. She looked at Percy, and for just a moment he could see how scared she was. She did a good job of hiding it, but Percy wondered if she'd had nightmares about Gaia too, if she'd seen the visions of what would happen when the camp was invaded by monsters that couldn't be killed. If this begins in the ancient prophecy, we don't have resources to send an army to these doors of death and protect the camp. I can't imagine even sparing seven demigods. First things first. Percy tried to sound confident, though he could feel the level of panic rising in the room. I don't even know who the seven are, or what the old prophecy means, exactly. But first we have to free Thanatos. Mars told us we only need 3 people for the quest to Alaska. Let's concentrate on succeeding with that and getting back before the Feast of Fortuna. Then we can worry about the doors of death. Yeah, Frank said in a small voice. That's probably enough for 1 week. So you do have a plan? Octavian said skeptically. Percy looked at his teammates. We have to go to Alaska as fast as possible. And we improvise, Hazel said. A lot, Frank added. Reyna studied them. She looked like she was mentally writing her own obituary. Very well, she said. Nothing remains except for us to vote what support we can give the quest. Transportation, money, magic, weapons. Praetor, if I may, Octavian said. Oh, great, Percy muttered. Here it comes. The camp is in great danger, Octavian said. 2 gods have warned us that we will be attacked in 4 days from now. We must not spread our resources too thin, especially by funding the projects that have a slim chance of success. Octavian looked at the 3 of them with pity, as if to say, poor little things. Mars has clearly chosen the least likely candidates for this quest. Perhaps it is because he's considered them the most expendable. Perhaps Mars is playing the long odds. Whatever the case, he chose wisely, and he did not order a massive expedition, nor did he ask us to fund their adventure. I say we keep our resources here and defend the camp, where the battle will be lost or won. If these 3 succeed, wonderful! But they should do so on their own ingenuity. An uneasy murmur passed through the crowd. Frank jumped to his feet, but before he could start a fight, Percy said, Fine, no problem, but at least give us transportation. Gaia is the Earth Goddess, right? Going over land, across the Earth? I'm guessing we should avoid that. Plus, it'll be too slow. Octavian laughed. Would you like us to charter you an airplane? The idea made Percy nauseous. No air travel. I have a feeling that would be bad too. But a boat. Can you at least give us a boat? Hazel made a grunting sound. Percy glanced over. She shook her head and mouthed, I'm fine. A boat! Octavian turned to the senators. The son of Neptune wants a boat. Sea travel has never been the Roman way, but he isn't much of a Roman. Octavian, Reyna said sternly, a boat is little enough to ask, and provided no other aid seems very... Traditional? Octavian exclaimed. It's very traditional. Let us see if these questers have the strength to survive with their own help, like true Romans. More muttering filled the chamber. The senator's eyes moved back and forth between Octavian and Reyna, watching the test of wills. Reyna straightened in her chair. Very well, she said tightly. We'll put it to a vote. Senators, the motion is as follows. The quest shall go to Alaska. The Senate shall provide full access to the Roman Navy docked in Almedia. No aid will be forthcoming. The 3 adventurers will survive or fail by their own merits. All in favor? Every senator's hand went up. The motion is passed. Reyna turned to Frank. Centurion, your party is excused. The Senate has no other matters to discuss. And, Octavian, if I may confer with you for a moment? Percy was incredibly glad to see the sunlight. In that dark hall with all those eyes on him, he felt like the world was riding on his shoulders, and he was fairly sure he'd had that experience before. He filled his lungs with fresh air. Hazel picked up a huge emerald from the path and slipped it in her pocket. So, we're pretty much toast? Frank nodded miserably. If either of you wants to back out now, I won't blame you. Are you kidding? Hazel said. And pull sentry duty for the rest of the week? Frank managed to smile. He turned to Percy. Percy gazed across the forum. Stay put. Annabeth had said that in his dream. But if he stayed put, the camp would be destroyed. He looked up at the hills and imagined Gaia's face smiling in the shadows and ridges. You can't win, little demigod, she seemed to say. Serve me by staying, or serve me by going. Percy made a silent vow. After the Feast of Fortuna, he would find Annabeth. But for now, he had to act. He could not let Gaia win. I'm with you, he told Frank. Besides, I want to check out the Roman navy. They were only halfway across the forum when someone called, Jackson! Percy turned and saw Octavian jogging towards him. What do you want? Percy asked. Octavian smiled. Already decided I'm your enemy? That's a rash choice, Percy. I'm a loyal Roman. Frank snarled. You backstabbing, slimy. Both Percy and Hazel had to restrain him. Oh dear, Octavian said. Hardly the right behavior for a new centurion. Jackson, I only followed you because Raina charged me with a message. She wants you to report to the Principalia with your, 2 lackeys here. Raina will meet you there after the Senate adjourns. She'd like a private word with you before you leave on your quest. What about? Percy asked. Oh, I'm sure I don't know. Octavian smiled wickedly. The last person she had a private talk with was Jason Grace, and that was the last time I ever saw him. Good luck and goodbye, Percy Jackson.